Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Justin. It's Monday. That means we're going to be continuing on with our series discussion. We're still in the midst of Die Hard. 5 movies in the franchise. We're right in the middle with Die Hard with a Vengeance. In my honest opinion, this is the one, even though Part 2, Die Hard 2, gets a really solid score. I gave it a 7.3 compared to a 7.5 for the first one. To me, this is the one that comes closest to enjoying equally to the original. And a lot of that has to do with the villain, the casting of the villain. In the first one, Alan Rickman as Simon Gruber is fantastic. He's charming, he's witty, he's sophisticated, he's smart. He is creative. He has every step planned out. The second one, I enjoy the villains, John Amos, William Sadler, but they're different. They're not, they're stiff. They're military. They're robotic in a sense. Everything's calculated and cold and precise. Die Hard with a Vengeance brings in Jeremy Irons, who was born Simon Peter Gruber. He's Hans Gruber's brother. And he's fantastic. Jeremy Irons is such a talented actor. He has a lot of those same characteristics that Alan Rickman had. Smart, witty. He's an enjoyable character. You enjoy rooting for him to die. And, he's a dick, but he's a fun dick. And that's what makes the movie so good. And then you add in, the biggest difference with this movie, the setting is now in New York. So the first one was in LA, the second one was in DC, although it's more of an airport in Washington, DC. This one is in New York City. That's chaotic as it is. And you've got John Mcclane, who, in the first 2 movies had problems with his marriage. That was obvious. The biggest thing they leave out that upsets me is, so he moved to LA for Part 2. He becomes an LA police officer, but by Part 3, he's now back in New York. I don't know how that works. They kind of leave that part out. That's one of the weak things. So you were a New York cop, you moved out to, you went out to LA to visit your wife, who took a job, and then in Part 2, you're an LA cop, but now you're back to being a New York cop, and your wife is still out in LA. So they took out Bonnie Bedelia's character, Holly Mcclane. So you lose that dynamic of doing whatever he can to protect his wife. That's okay. But you add in Samuel L. Jackson as Zeus. Not Jesus, Zeus. As in Father Apollo, Mount Olympus. Don't fuck with me or I'll shove a lightning bolt up your ass. Zeus. And he is fantastic. You've got this buddy, even though he's not a police officer, you kind of have that buddy cop dynamic, albeit with racial overtones. Each one thinks the other one doesn't like black people, doesn't like white people. It actually makes it funnier because it basically becomes a running gag. Sue me, you racist motherfucker. Throughout the movie, and it works. Their dynamic just gets stronger and stronger. As Simon makes him play a game of Simon Says, and it gets him into some crazy, crazy stunts that makes the movie enjoyable, makes it fun. So by opening up the universe to now having New York City at your disposal, it creates so much chaos, but it works. It helps them. It helps. This is one of those cases where broadening the universe helps, I think, a lot with John McClane's character. You know, you see the problems he has in his life, but now, you know, they're on a grander scale, and they're not boxed in a building or an airport. This is an entire city who, you know, when he gets his mind set to something, you know, crazy shit's gonna happen. And it culminates in the final showdown, which is the weakest part of the movie. The ending of the movie is definitely hurts overall. Whereas I love the ending of the first one, you know, with the showdown, gun taped to his back. The second one is fine too. You know, you're fighting on a giant 747 and it blow. Then, you know, you light the landing strip and that works. The ending of this one is kind of weak. You know, by coincidence, he finds out the location of where Hans has taken $140 billion worth of gold by the cap of a bottle of aspirin. You're going to tell me that of all the precision Simon has, a bottle of aspirin is going to beat him. And I guess, I mean, it's an action movie, you know, that stuff happens. Just irks me. Like, you're so smart, and yet something so little is going to take you down. But that being said, it's still a great movie. The ending's weak, but it's not bad. So it hurts the overall score, but not that much. I love the dynamic between Bruce Willis and Samuel L. Jackson. I love the dynamic between Jeremy Irons and Bruce Willis. The movie works. Setting it in New York works. So the first one got a 7.5. The second one got a 7.3. I said it was better than 2, but not quite as good as 1. So it's a 7.4. You know, it's one of those movies that it's close. The ending was a little bit stronger. It's as good, if not better, than the first one. But the ending hurts, but it doesn't hurt the overall quality of the movie. It's still an enjoyable movie. 1995's Die Hard with a Vengeance. You know, we're halfway through the franchise, and we are talking a really solid action franchise. 7.4 is a review. If you like this video, please hit the like button. Please consider subscribing. And I'll see you guys next time at the movies. Take care.